The reason I think twice before running at night. Okay, so the first thing you need to know about me is that I love to run. I love it, no matter the weather, the terrain, or time. I love to run. Well, I got to a point in my life where my obsession with running got out of control. I would get home late from the bars, drunk off my ass, and instead of passing out like normal drunks do, I would go run. It started becoming the norm for me. Hit the bars, get home late, and then get my gear on and take off into the night for a jog. I started to fall in love with the nighttime. There was something so poetic about the night. The way the moon glowed bright, the silence, the danger, the serenity of being alone. I was hooked. I figured, hey, what a great way to get ahead. While the world sleeps, I will better myself. I was so blinded by my obsession, I didn't realize how much danger I was putting myself in. So one Saturday night I decided I was tired and didn't want to go out to the bars and that I would take the day off from running and rest up. About 4 hours and 8 diners, drive-ins and dives episodes later, I am starving. But there isn't any food in my house and it is making me anxious and upset. Instantly I have the bright idea of, hey, I'll go for a run and get my mind off of my hunger. By this time it is 4 a.m. and pitch black outside. I stretch and plan my route out in my head. If you were to map my route out, it would make a perfect square. I figure I will run down street A, make a right, run down street B, make a right, run down street C, make a right, run down street D, and I will be back to where I started off. So I take off into the night, and it is amazing. The cool breeze against my skin, the way my shadow danced as I passed each streetlight, the music romancing my eardrums. I hit my runner's high and I am moving. I mean moving, I'm going as fast as I can, pushing myself while the world sleeps. I get to street C and my ankle begins to hurt. I brush it off and keep going, pushing through the pain, pushing through the night, leaving each step in the past. Just as I am about to make my turn onto street D, my ankle buckles and I just cannot go on anymore. So I reach down, undid my shoelaces to let my ankle breathe. I pick my head up and start hobbling along. I am walking down the left side of street D on the sidewalk, music still blasting, when I get a bad feeling. I mean, my skin is crawling, my stomach is turning, and for some reason my gut tells me, look behind you. I turn my head to my right to check over my shoulder, and that is when I saw him. On the right side of the street, quickly creeping his way around a pond, trying to make his way to me. His long hair shaded his eyes in the darkest hours of the night. He didn't see me notice him at first, but my eyes stayed locked on him. As I watched him, he moved quick, his head never rested. It turned left and right constantly as if he was on lookout for something. I will never forget the way he moved, this sort of crouched running. He made it around the pond and was heading straight for me, when he looks up and realizes I have turned around and have been watching him for the last 7 seconds. I kid you not, as fast as our eyes met, was as fast as he stood up, turned around and took off into the night between 2 houses. I was so scared, at first I reached for my phone to call 911. But something in me said, no, this is my neighborhood. I refused to feel unsafe, and right then and there I lost it. I snapped. I took off after him. I forgot about the pain in my ankle and I ran as fast as I could. The hunted, now the hunter. I saw him cross a street and into more backyards. I followed, screaming at him, you pussy, come back, you want me, I'm right here, come back here. But he didn't come back, he kept running and shook me in the darkness. I'll never know what he wanted from me, and that's what keeps me awake at night. So creepy, long-haired, crouched running guy, for your sake, let's not meet. Why you shouldn't run late at night. I often like to go out running in summer or whenever the weather is nice. This happened a week before I was supposed to start high school. I thought about going running that day, but I got that idea in the morning and I run in the evening while the sun is still up, but it isn't as hot as in the day and there isn't a chance for it to get hotter if I don't manage to get back in time like in the morning. Well, of course I forget my promise to myself and only remember it at around 9 p.m. Now it's the end of the summer, so the sun is already setting sooner than I'm used to, but I go, I'll get back in like an hour or so, it will be fine. I already have been putting off running, so I don't want to put it off again. I should probably mention that I am a girl, and even though a lot of girls I know change the side of the road they walk on when they see even distinctly drunk-looking guy walking, I was always the one calling them pussies and was ready to take on the first rogue who tried to get to me. I also live in a less populated area out of the town where almost everyone knows everyone, so I was feeling extra sure of my safety. What a naive fool, I know. So I go out, I start my run and it's fine. It's getting a bit dark but I can still see the running track, so all is good. I start to feel a bit off when I see a pair walking in front of me. When I get closer they turn out to be just teen guys and I run past them with no problem. When I finally reach the usual point in my run where I turn around, a cemetery, ultra creepy but it has benches and it's a small graveyard, so I never feel weird about taking a break there. It has already gotten pretty dark. I drink some water from my bottle and just stand under a tree next to the gate in the territory of the cemetery, but don't sit down where I usually do because the bench is next to a fence and the darkness has finally made me a little weary about being alone and someone jumping on me. It's pretty funny that that's what scared me the most at the time. When I catch my breath I stay for a few more minutes just listening to the wind. I see a bike drive past the cemetery. Taking the route I will take while running back, I leave my resting place and it has gotten really dark. Dark enough that I could barely see 2 meters in front of me. I start slowly running back. After 15 meters or so I start hearing voices. Couple more and I can clearly hear someone talking. My thoughts immediately jump to a conclusion that there are at least 2 people in front of me if I'm hearing a conversation. Now I slow down even more until I get close enough to actually hear what's being said. Keep in mind it's completely dark and this road doesn't have street lights, so I can't see anything. I get close enough to finally make out the words and my heart sinks at what I hear. I can't recall exact words that were said, but the general idea. The male voice said, "I see this girl, I could just pull her into the bushes." There were tall bushes lining one side of the running track. As I've said, at first my heart stops, but immediate after I go into fight or flight mode. I can hear my heart beating in my ears and I'm full of adrenaline, the bad kind. I know I can't just stop or he will know I heard what he said, so I continue to walk, but thank God that the running track is separated from the road by a small grass field, so I go to the side of the road, making some distance between us. I keep looking at him. Keep in mind I still don't even know how many people are there, but I see a square of light. Presumably a phone, and then I hear him jump on his bicycle and drive off. It turned out he was talking on the phone, but just because he was alone didn't mean I was less scared of him. I walk on the side of the road for a good few minutes until I'm sure he would be far away from me, and once I get back on the running track I sprint home like crazy. All the way back I was shaking with fear and looking at the bushes and the cars that passed me with delirium, squishing my water bottle in my hand, ready to smack anyone who came close to me. When I finally reached the first road lights I felt like I escaped death. This is my first ever text post on Reddit, so please excuse the inexperience of writing a story and messiness. No more running at night. When I was a senior in high school I would run regularly. I liked to run at night because there wouldn't be many people around and I could exercise without interruption. One night I am running and counting the cars that pass. I would keep track of cars to try and distract myself. After about half an hour I make it to the halfway point of my run and turn around. 10 minutes later I see a car up ahead going about 5 to 10 miles per hour. The speed is 25 miles per hour, so this car is really out of place. It also looks like a car that I saw at the beginning of my run. I start walking slowly, watching the car. When we are about 10 feet from each other the car suddenly stops in the middle of the road. I stop walking and pull out my headphones. The car abruptly steps on the gas and drives over the grass median onto the sidewalk, landing right next to me. The passenger door flies open and all I register is a white man with afro-looking hair and glasses getting out of the car. Before I take off sprinting, I ran to the closest house that I knew. A kid from my high school, Seth, lived there. We had never talked before, but my own house was too far away. I ran to his porch and started banging on the door. A man in a bathrobe answered, his dad, and I ran inside, stupidly and without his permission. I choked out that a man was after me and Seth's dad called the cops. They never found the guy. Even though nothing happened to me and I don't have any proof, I have never been so sure that someone intends me harm. Asshat driver, let's not meet.